Alright, so Collision 2024 just wrapped up and Spargo went ahead and took the whole thing, but I want to kind of briefly talk about somebody else that did very well, and that of course is Shadic. Now Shadic has really been on the rise as of late. He's been placing very well at every single event. He just recently won an event and a lot of people thought he was going to take this event after seeing him climb his way through Losers Top 8. And as somebody that is currently in Texas and kind of a part of the Texas scene, I don't really attend too much stuff, but I do keep up with it. I'm very aware of Shadic, of who he is, and like him being on the rise is really no surprise to me. But if you're not from Texas, you might not have expected it, but just getting to see that he's traveling more right now and getting to play more in general against different people, it doesn't surprise me at all that he's doing this well. So again, going into this event, I'm pretty sure that most people expected Shadic to do well. Most people probably did not expect him to actually win the event, though he was seeded number 6, but it was no surprise to see him in top 8. But when you really look at the bracket and you kind of watch some of the sets here, like you can definitely tell he earned his way into top 8 and he definitely had a fight for it. There were obviously some early upsets throughout this tournament, with Tweak getting basically back-to-back 3-0'd, and then there were obviously a few other early exits with DeBuzz and Riddles placing 13th, I believe. But overall, top 8 was like pretty much as expected. I would say like the one surprise in winner's side was definitely Cola, and I guess you could say Shadic as well because Zomba was kind of projected to make his way up there, but he ended up losing pretty early. But yeah, like I said, Shadic definitely had to fight his way into top 8, having to beat Icy Mist to make top 32. And then right away in top 32, he ended up playing against Jackal, which was a really close set, starting off, down 0-2 and making the reverse 3-0. Whenever we have these bigger tournaments, I kind of just like have the stream on like throughout the day while I'm doing other stuff. And so I definitely like walked past my screen. I saw he was down 2-0. I was like, oh, I guess Jackal's winning this. And then later on I checked and I saw Shadic ended up taking it. And that's something I really kind of noticed watching a lot of his gameplay this weekend. It's like he has this switch basically where like he can be losing and then he just like turns on the switch and right away like bam, he just like instantly brings it back. After beating Jackal, he found himself down 2-1 against Lima to make winner's side top 8. And again, this is somebody that he has struggled to play against. I believe the set count was 3-14 going into this, which is kind of crazy. It's very one-sided for sure. And of course, Lima is obviously like a really good player, but again, Shadic I feel like has just been improving a lot within the last few months, so it doesn't really surprise me to see that he ends up beating Lima. Game 5 was actually like super close too, so it really could have gone either way. And then moving on into top 8, Shadic had to fight against Spargo, and Spargo obviously probably the best player in this bracket overall. And overall, the set wasn't like too close, but it kind of could have gone either way. I feel like Spargo definitely earned a couple of those games like pretty dominantly, so not surprised to see that Shadic lost. But a lot of people were saying whoever won this set right here would probably go on to take the tournament, and that's exactly what ended up happening. And this is obviously the matchup we would get later on in grand finals, but first Shadic had to fight his way through that loser's bracket, and right off the bat it was yet again against another bracket demon, and in this case it was Light. And going into this, Shadic was 0-5 against Light. But if you had a chance to watch this set this past weekend, then there's no way you would have known it was 0-5 because Shadic kind of just dominated this whole set. And then we have losers semifinals, and in my opinion this was the best set of the whole tournament between Shadic and Cola. Cola, again, another really good top player obviously, but he was seeded 12th I believe this tournament, so not really expected to win the whole event or anything. So it was definitely surprising for me to see him in winner's side top 8. And then of course making his way to loser semifinals. Very impressive showing, came down to the wire, could have went either way. Shadic kind of made a comeback in game 5 and ended up taking the set. And for losers finals, to kind of like close off the theme of heroes versus villains, we of course have Shadic versus Onin, Korn versus Steve, and it was definitely very one-sided as far as who everybody wanted to see win, including myself. And in my opinion, to really no surprise, Shadic ends up taking this 3-0. I feel like he has plenty of Steve experience being from Texas. There's a lot of Steves here, so that really didn't surprise me at all, but I guess I didn't really expect it to be like not close at all. I expected it to be a little bit closer, but hey, we take those 3-0s. And then of course that leads us to grand finals, and it's Shadic versus Spargo, the run back, and it ends exactly the same way as the first set went. It was 3-1, and Spargo ends up taking the whole event. Now the reason why this video is specifically about Shadic's run at Collision is because I think we're really starting to see a shift with Smash Ultimate in general. I feel like for the longest time it's been getting a little bit stale as far as characters and players go. We're seeing the same characters do well, we're seeing the same players do well, and now it's starting to shake up just a little bit. Again, Shadic has pretty much always been good. He's been entering tournaments since he was like 12, I'm pretty sure. Like, if you look back at his results, he's got some pretty decent results overall. But really within the last few months, if you take a look at all of his major results, like, he doesn't really have any bad placements at all. And this is very reminiscent to a lot of other young players that we've seen in the past that started doing well. You look at MKLeo towards the end of Smash 4 and then what he became in Ultimate. And you look at a player like Spargo, the way he kind of started off kind of dominating and making his way to where he is now. We've seen it time and time again where we get these young prodigy players and they end up developing into like the best players in the game. And the crazy part is he's doing this with Corrin. This is a character that like obviously isn't the best in the game and obviously not the worst in the game, but like this is a character that's definitely more underrated than we've seen with, you know, younger players in the past making their way to the top. When you look at MKLeo and Spargo and like Akula, like they all play basically the best characters in the game, or like they're very, very up there, you know? And it's honestly pretty refreshing to see like somebody pilot a character that we really don't see like too often, and especially at like such a high level. I definitely think that Texas has a lot more talent than people give it credit for. You know, it is a little bit more spread out. Like a lot of people think that Texas is all just one, you know, small region or whatever, but like the state's pretty big, and especially like Shadic, he lives pretty far away from a lot of the other top players. But that being said, there's always like big Texas events where everybody will come together and, you know, compete. And I really do think that all this is happening at a really good time because Smash Ultimate, you know, while it is still thriving, it is, in my opinion, getting a little bit stale. You know, we're on year 6 right now, and, you know, a lot of events, at least in my opinion, they kind of just feel very similar. You see the same people winning, and the same characters, you know, doing well. The same people arguing on Twitter about, you know, Steve or Sonic or whatever. So it's just really good to see somebody else making moves and doing it on a consistent basis. I really do think this is the year that Shadic will kind of break out and really, like, you know, showcase himself as a top player, and, you know, I honestly, I love to see it. But all that being said, let me know what your favorite set was at Collision this year and how you kind of feel about Smash Ultimate right now. Do you feel like we're kind of at a stale place, or do you feel like the meta is like really thriving? Like, what do you guys think? I know we do have Battle of BC coming up in a few weeks, so I'm very excited for that because I remember last year that was a pretty hype event, so I'm sure we're going to see some good stuff over there as well. But yeah, other than that, I know a lot of events are happening in May. I don't think too much is happening in April though. But yeah, that's going to be about it for this video. Hope you all have a fantastic day, and I will catch you all later.